The unloved woman is not defined by the absence of love in her life, but by the story she tells herself about who she is. In the depths of despair or rejection, she may feel unworthy or forgotten, yet within her lies the power to rewrite her destiny. Love is not something we chase or beg for, it is a state we embody. By transforming her self concept, awakening the creative force of her imagination, and living in the certainty of her worth, the unloved woman can transcend her circumstances and discover a reality where love flows freely to and from her. The unloved woman, though she may perceive herself as abandoned or neglected, is not defined by the apparent lack of love in her life. Instead, her reality is shaped by the beliefs she holds about herself and the world around her. It is easy to look at external circumstances and feel as though they dictate who we are. But this is a profound misunderstanding of how life unfolds. The power that molds reality is not outside us, it lies within. The unloved woman must come to understand that the absence of love is merely a reflection of her own perception, not a permanent state of being. To change her world, she must first change how she sees herself. Every thought and feeling she entertains reinforces the identity she assumes. If she believes herself to be unworthy of love, that belief will project outward and shape her experiences. The world responds not to who she wishes to be, but to who she believes she is. The woman who feels unloved may carry this identity as a shield, unconsciously affirming to herself and others that she is unwanted, unworthy, or invisible. Yet, this belief is not her truth, it is a habit of thought. Habits can be changed, and beliefs can be rewritten. The power of perception lies in its ability to transform not only how she feels about herself, but also how the world responds to her. She must begin by recognizing that her feelings of being unloved are not evidence of her worthlessness, but rather indicators of a self concept she has accepted for too long. If she shifts her perception, the mirror of love life will adjust to reflect her new understanding. To perceive herself as lovable, cherished, and valued, she must adopt these feelings within her heart before the outer world will conform to this inner shift. The journey begins with an act of imagination. The unloved woman possesses a creative power that has been with her all along, the ability to imagine herself as the woman she longs to be. In her mind's eye, she can see herself as adored, respected, and deeply loved. She can feel the warmth of love in every fiber of her being, even if it seems absent in her external world. The power of imagination is not bound by the limitations of physical reality. It is a tool that allows her to transcend her current circumstances and step into a new identity. By persistently assuming this new self concept, she will see changes in her outer world. She will attract experiences and relationships that mirror her inner transformation. This process is not magic, it is a natural law of life. When she believes in her worthiness, she will unconsciously act, speak, and carry herself in ways that affirm this truth. Others will begin to respond to her as the woman she has imagined herself to be. Her inner transformation will ripple outward, touching every aspect of her life. The woman who once felt unloved must now see herself as the creator of her reality. The external world is not her master, it is her servant, reflecting back to her the sum of her thoughts and feelings. If she wants to experience love, she must first become love. By changing her perception, she reclaims her power. Her life is no longer at the mercy of others' actions or the seeming indifference of the world. Instead, it becomes a testament to her belief in her own worthiness. This shift in perception is not always easy, or it requires her to confront the doubts and fears that have held her captive. But as she persists in her new vision of herself, she will find that these old beliefs lose their grip. The unloved woman transforms into a deeply loved and cherished being, not because others changed, but because she changed. In this way, perception is not merely a lens through which she sees the world, it is the tool with which she creates it. Imagination is the creative force that shapes reality, and within every person lies the power to use it to transform their life. For the unloved woman, this power is not only available but essential. The external world may seem cold, unyielding, and indifferent, but it is nothing more than a reflection of the images and beliefs she holds within her mind. To change her reality, she must first change the picture she consistently paints in her imagination. The imagination is not a passive faculty, it is an active tool, capable of bringing into existence whatever is vividly and persistently imagined as true. When the unloved woman closes her eyes and visualizes herself as deeply loved, cherished, and valued, she plants seeds in the fertile soil of her subconscious mind. These seeds, if nurtured with faith and persistence, will grow into experiences that align with her inner vision. The key is not to use imagination to escape her reality, but to transform it. She must imagine not as a fleeting wish, but as a living truth. The images she holds in her mind must be accompanied by the feelings they would evoke if they were already real. To imagine herself as loved is to feel the joy, security, and warmth of being cherished, even before it appears outwardly. The power of imagination lies in its ability to bypass the limitations of the present moment. The woman who feels unloved might be surrounded by circumstances that seem to confirm her belief in her unworthiness. Yet these circumstances are not fixed, they are merely the product of her past imaginings and beliefs. By changing what she imagines now, she sets in motion a new chain of events. The world around her must eventually conform to the dominant images she holds in her mind. This is not wishful thinking, it is the law of creation. The outer world is always shaped by the inner. To harness the power of imagination effectively, the unloved woman must commit to a consistent practice. Each day, she must take time to quiet her mind, close her eyes, and enter a state of relaxed focus. In this state, she can vividly imagine herself as the version of herself she wishes to be. She might see herself in loving relationships, surrounded by people who cherish her, or radiating confidence and self assurance. The details are less important than the feeling. What matters most is that she generates the emotional state of already having what she desires. As she persists in this practice, she will notice subtle changes. Her thoughts will begin to align with her new vision. Her actions will unconsciously reflect her new self concept. Even her body language and tone of voice will shift, radiating the confidence and warmth of someone who knows she is loved. These changes, though they may seem small at first, will have a profound impact on how others perceive and respond to her. The outer world will begin to mirror the inner transformation she has created through her imagination. It is important for the unloved woman to understand that imagination is not constrained by logic or past experiences. It does not matter how long she has felt unloved or how deeply ingrained her old beliefs may be. Imagination operates in the realm of infinite possibility, unrestricted by the limitations of time and circumstance. What she imagines as true becomes true, provided she believes in it and persists in her vision. The only barriers are those she places on herself through doubt or disbelief. The power of imagination is available to everyone, but it requires deliberate use. The unloved woman must guard against the temptation to dwell on her current reality or to replay painful memories of the past. These thoughts and images only reinforce the state she wishes to escape. Instead, she must discipline her mind to focus on her desired outcome. When doubts arise, she can gently redirect her thoughts to a vision, reminding herself that the outer world must conform to the images she holds within. In time, the unloved woman will discover that her imagination is the most powerful tool she possesses. Through it, she can create a life filled with love, joy, and fulfillment. The love she seeks is not outside of her, it is within, waiting to be expressed. By imagining herself as loved, she becomes love itself. And in doing so, she transforms her world. Self-love is the foundation upon which all other forms of love built. For the unloved woman, this realization is both liberating and transformative. The experience of feeling unloved often stems from looking outward, seeking validation, approval, and affection from others, only to be met with disappointment or rejection. But the truth is that love begins within. No amount of external affection can compensate for the absence of self-love. When a woman embraces and honors herself fully, she becomes a magnet for the love and respect she desires from the world. To cultivate self-love, the unloved woman must first acknowledge her intrinsic worth. Her value is not determined by her relationships, appearance, achievements, or the opinions of others. It is inherent, unchanging, and absolute. This understanding may seem distant at first, especially if she has spent years internalizing feelings of unworthiness. Yet, it is a truth she can rediscover through practice and intention. Self-love requires a shift in focus from external validation to internal appreciation. It is about recognizing that she is enough exactly as she is, without needing to prove her worthiness to anyone. One of the most profound acts of self-love is forgiveness. The unloved woman must forgive herself for past mistakes, perceived failures, and moments of weakness. She must also forgive others who may have hurt her or contributed to her feelings of unworthiness. Forgiveness is not about condoning harmful behavior, but about freeing herself from the weight of resentment and regret. When she lets go of these burdens, she creates space within her heart for love to flow. Forgiveness is an act of self-compassion, a way of saying, I choose to release the pain and embrace my own healing. Another essential aspect of self-love is self-care. This goes beyond physical well-being to include emotional, mental, and spiritual health. The unloved woman must make herself a priority, setting boundaries that protect her energy and honor her needs. She can no longer allow herself to be depleted by relationships or situations that do not serve her growth. Self-care means saying no when necessary, without guilt or fear, and saying yes to activities, people, and experiences that nourish her soul. It is an ongoing commitment to treat herself with the kindness and respect she deserves. Words are powerful, and the way the unloved woman speaks to herself shapes her reality. She must become aware of her inner dialogue, replacing self-criticism with self-affirmation. Instead of saying, I am not enough, she can declare, I am worthy of love and happiness. These affirmations may feel uncomfortable or unnatural at first, but with repetition, They will begin to reprogram her subconscious mind. Each loving thought she directs toward herself strengthens her foundation of self-love, building a new narrative that empowers and uplifts her. Self-love also involves embracing her authenticity. The unloved woman must let go of the need to conform to others' expectations or societal standards. She is unique with qualities, strengths, and experiences that make her who she is. Embracing her authenticity means celebrating her individuality rather than trying to fit into a mold. It is about showing up in the world as her true self without apology or fear of judgment. When she honors her authenticity, she invites others to do the same, creating relationships that are genuine and fulfilling. Perhaps the most transformative aspect of self love is the realization that she does not need to wait for someone else to love her to feel complete. The love she seeks is already within her, waiting to be acknowledged and expressed. When she loves herself, she fills the void that once felt so overwhelming. She no longer seeks love from a place of lack, but from a place of abundance. This shift changes the way she relates to others, as she no longer looks for someone to complete, but instead attracts relationships that enhance her already fulfilling life. As the unloved woman nurtures her self love, she will notice profound changes in her life. Her confidence will grow, her relationships will improve, and opportunities she once thought impossible will come into view. Love will no longer feel elusive because she will embody it. She will radiate a sense of inner peace and joy that draws others toward her naturally. In loving herself, she not only transforms her own life but also inspires others to do the same. Self love is not a destination but a lifelong journey, one that leads to deeper connections, greater fulfillment, and an unshakable sense of self worth. Living in the end is one of the most powerful principles for transforming life, and for the unloved woman, it offers a pathway out of despair and into a reality filled with love. This principle requires her to shift her focus entirely, from dwelling on the absence of love to embodying the feeling of being deeply loved right now. It is not about hoping or wishing, but about assuming with unwavering conviction that her desired outcome is already hers. By living in the end, she aligns her thoughts, emotions, and actions with the reality she wishes to create, making it inevitable that her external world will conform to this inner state. To live in the end, the unloved woman must first clearly define what she desires. Does she want a loving partner, a circle of supportive friends, or a deeper sense of self worth? Whatever her vision may be, she must crystallize it in her mind and accept it as an already accomplished fact. This is not a superficial exercise, but a deep emotional commitment to the belief that her desire is real. She must feel the joy, warmth, and security of being loved as though it were already part of her life. The mind does not differentiate between what is real and what is vividly imagined, and by consistently experiencing her desired state within, she sets the wheels of creation in motion. This process requires persistence and discipline. The unloved woman may be tempted to look at her current circumstances and feel discouraged, but she must resist the urge to focus on what appears to be lacking. The outer world is nothing more than a reflection of her past thoughts and beliefs. If she continues to react to what she sees, she will only perpetuate the same reality. Instead, she must discipline her mind to dwell solely on her desired outcome, regardless of how things look in the present moment. Her inner state must take precedence over external appearances, for it is the inner state that ultimately shapes her reality. Living in the end also means acting as though her desire has already been fulfilled. This does not mean pretending or putting on a facade, but rather embodying the feelings, behaviors, and attitudes that align with her desired state. If she imagines herself as a woman who is deeply loved, how would she carry herself? What would her posture, tone of voice, and daily choices look like? By adopting these qualities now, she bridges the gap between her current state and her desired reality. Her actions will naturally align with her vision, and the world will respond to this new version of herself. One of the most challenging aspects of living in the end is maintaining faith in the unseen. The unloved woman must trust that her inner work is enough, even if there is no immediate evidence of change. This requires patience and resilience, for the process of creation often unfolds in ways that are not immediately apparent. She must hold steadfast to her vision, knowing that every moment spent in the feeling of her wish fulfilled brings her closer to its manifestation. Doubts and fears may arise, but they are not obstacles unless she allows them to take root. By consistently returning to the feeling of the end, she reinforces her belief and strengthens her creative power. Living in the end is not a passive process but an active, deliberate way of being. It calls for unwavering commitment to the vision of what could be, rather than dwelling on what currently is. This principle teaches the unloved woman that she is not at the mercy of external forces, she is the creator of her reality. The love she seeks is not something she must chase or earn, it is something she can embody right now. When she fully embraces this truth, the outer world will have no choice but to reflect it back to her. As she practices living in the end, the unloved woman will notice subtle shifts in her thoughts, emotions, and interactions. Her confidence will grow, her energy will become magnetic, and opportunities for love and connection will begin to flow into her life effortlessly. These changes are not coincidences, but the natural result of her inner transformation. By living as though her wish is already fulfilled, she steps into the version of herself who is capable of receiving and sustaining the love she desires. Ultimately, living in the end is about surrendering to the truth that what she seeks is already hers. The unloved woman is not separate from love, she is love itself, waiting to be expressed. By aligning her inner world with this truth, she transforms her reality from the inside out. Her journey becomes not one of seeking, but of realizing, not one of lack, but of abundance. In living in the end, she claims her power as the creator of her experience and opens the door to a life filled with love, joy, and fulfillment. Faith in the unseen is the cornerstone of transformation, particularly for the unloved woman seeking to reshape her life. It requires her to trust in a reality that does not yet exist in the physical world, but is alive within her imagination and belief. This faith is not blind hope or idle wishing. It is an unshakable conviction that the love and fulfillment she desires are already hers, even if there is no outward evidence to support it. By holding firm to this belief, she activates the creative power within her and sets into motion the forces that will bring her vision to life. The unseen is the realm of infinite potential, a space where all possibilities exist. For the unloved woman, this means understanding that her current reality is not the final word on her worth or destiny. The absence of love in her life is not a reflection of her value, but simply a manifestation of past beliefs and assumptions. To change her outer world, she must first anchor herself in the unseen, where the reality of being deeply loved and cherished already exists. This requires her to look beyond the limitations of her senses and trust in the power of her imagination and inner knowing. Faith in the unseen demands persistence, especially when external circumstances seem to contradict her desires. It is easy to doubt when faced with loneliness, rejection, or indifference. Yet, these moments of doubt are the very opportunities where faith must be strengthened. The unloved woman must remind herself that the outer world is a reflection of her inner state, not the other way around. By holding to her vision and trusting in the unseen, she overrides the temporary evidence of her senses and aligns herself with the reality she seeks to create. To cultivate this faith, she must immerse herself in the feeling of her desire already fulfilled. Faith is not an intellectual exercise, but a deeply emotional experience. It is about feeling the joy, security, and love she longs for as though it were already hers. This feeling becomes her anchor, a steadying force that keeps her focused on her vision, despite any challenges or setbacks. The more she connects with this feeling, the stronger her faith becomes, and the more her outer world begins to shift to reflect her inner reality. Faith in the unseen also requires surrender. The unloved woman must release her attachment to how and when her desires will manifest. This does not mean giving up on her vision, but rather trusting that the universe, or the deeper intelligence within her, knows the perfect way to bring her desires to fruition. When she clings too tightly to specific outcomes or timelines, she limits the infinite possibilities available to her. Surrender allows her to let go of control and open herself to receiving her desire in the most unexpected and beautiful ways. In moments of doubt, she can turn to practices that reinforce her faith. Meditation, visualization, and affirmations are powerful tools for aligning her mind and emotions with the reality she wishes to create. Journaling her thoughts and feelings as though her desires are already fulfilled can also help solidify her belief. By consistently engaging in these practices, she builds a foundation of faith that becomes unshakable, even in the face of external challenges. Faith in the unseen is ultimately about trust in herself, trust in the creative process, and trust in the unseen forces that work on her behalf. The unloved woman must recognize that she is not alone in her journey. There is a power within her, greater than her fears and doubts, that is always guiding her toward her highest good. By aligning with this power and trusting in its wisdom, she allows herself to be carried toward the love and fulfillment she desires. Over time, as she holds to her faith, the unloved woman will witness the fruits of her inner work. Relationships will blossom, opportunities will arise, and love will flow into her life in ways she could not have anticipated. These changes will not feel like coincidences, but as natural and inevitable outcomes of her belief in the unseen. Her faith will be rewarded, not because she waited passively for things to change, but because she actively created her reality through her inner conviction. In the end, faith in the unseen transforms the unloved woman into a woman who is deeply loved, not because the world changed, but because she changed. She becomes a living testament to the power of belief and the limitless possibilities that lie within. Her journey is no longer defined by lack or longing, but by the profound realization that she has always been the creator of her experience. Through faith, she steps into a life filled with love, joy, and abundance, proving that the unseen is as real and tangible as the world she can touch and see.